This is Jason with Chicago News, and we've got the all-new 2019 Jetta. This is the first new Jetta since 2011. First off, on the outside, this Jetta looks a lot nicer than the previous version. They've done a lot of really cool things with the design. There's a lot of character lines. You've got this belt line here, which really adds a lot of heft to the upper part of the vehicle. You've got some really subtle lines along the A-pillar, along the top here. Lots of character, lots of real effort has gone into this design, as opposed to the outgoing model, which was really bland looking. So under the hood, we have a 1.4 liter turbocharged engine. This is the base engine. It's good for 40 miles per gallon on the highway, which is a very impressive number. Now, this is a really beautiful color on the outside, but I think it cost VW a couple dollars because it looks like they saved a few in here. I do know a lot about cars, but I also know how to work on them, and so they've done a couple things to save some money under the hood. There's a place right here for this sensor to be attached with screws, but it actually just has clips to hold it in. You can pop it right out. It feels a little bit cheap. Obviously, it holds in there just fine with these clips, but plastic does get brittle over time, and I worry the longevity of this. There's also another sensor here that's attached the same way. My big concern is that that sensor is under pressure from the turbocharger. So over time, with all the heat, it does give me a little bit of a worry, but you've got to hope that Volkswagen did their homework and engineered this properly. One safety feature that's often overlooked in a car is the lighting, and you've got some really great headlights here, but you've also got these turn lamps here. So when you turn the blinker on, it actually turns this side turning lamp on. It illuminates the angle that you're turning into. It's actually a really simple safety feature, and it's great they include it on a car. So inside this Jetta, the first thing I noticed, it's a lot quieter than the previous version. They've done quite a bit to insulate the sound, a little bit more luxurious feel. The materials are a little bit better as well. You've got some faux stitching on the dash here. You've got some nice glossy plastics. The steering wheel, it's got really nice leather, some nice contrasting stitching as well. This definitely feels a lot nicer than the previous one. What's really cool is they were able to make all those improvements and still lower the starting price a little bit. This Jetta starts under $20,000. And this R-Line, which is the sportier version that we're driving, actually stickers at around $25,000, which is a lot of car for the money. Even though this Jetta is an all-new platform, this 1.4 liter turbocharged engine was available in previous years as well, and it's actually down a little bit. It's 147 horsepower. I'm not sure why the change, but with 184 foot-pounds of torque and some good transmission programming, this car actually feels plenty quick around town. There's a lot of like squirt right when you need it in traffic. You know, you worry with that small of a displacement engine that it's just not gonna be able to move the car quick enough, but actually pretty quick here, which is impressive. As far as technology goes, VW's really improved their infotainment system. This is the base 6.5-inch screen. It's a little on the small side. You've got a lot of buttons surrounding it to help you guide through. The optional version is an 8-inch screen, which also is available with their what they call the digital cockpit. So the entire gauge cluster will be another 10.3-inch LCD. So everything is configurable. Obviously that would be a nice feature to have, but it's also really nice to have the price point of this one. You know, this R-Line version is supposed to be the sportier version, but honestly the handling is lacking a little bit here. The steering feel is actually really great. It's got light on center feel. You've got good direct steering, but unfortunately these tires just can't keep up. These are very high sidewall, all-season tires. They just don't have the grip to compare to this chassis. So we look forward to the 2-liter GLI version that's going to come out next year. That'll obviously have lower profile tires. We'll really get to explore the handling then. Overall though, this new platform increases the driving feel of this Jetta a ton. The old version felt flimsy, cheap, kind of flexible. This platform, which is shared with the Golf and even the Atlas SUV, this platform is used across several different vehicles for Volkswagen, and it's been out since 2015. This isn't a brand new platform, so this is already kind of perfected, and you can feel that. You got Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, all the connectivity you'd want, but there's only one USB port, which, you know, is kind of a bummer. You've got a 12-volt port here as well, but a lot of the other cars that we test come with a variety of ports. Here you're stuck with just the one. Multiple people need to plug in the car, you're out of luck. As far as safety goes, you've got some really great technologies here as well. You've got radar cruise, it'll follow the car in front of you. You've got forward collision alert with emergency braking, which we got the chance to test out, and it's really good. We had a situation where somebody in front of us wasn't paying attention, and it meant that they had to stop really quickly, and this system actually caught that and started braking way before we thought we needed to. Really a very well programmed system. Some of these safety systems at first were not quite up to par. They made mistakes. There's no reason to think that this won't still make a mistake here and there, but it's nice to really see this thing able to react that quickly in traffic. The seats in this model are comfortable enough. You've got a perforated vinyl. It's not leather, but definitely is a bit flat and unsupportive. Again, the price point of this is great. There are some trade-offs you're gonna make. This is still a lot of car for the money. One nice feature you've got here is a really large sunroof, and this opens out, which from the outside of the car doesn't look as good because the glass actually goes on top of the roof. From the inside though, that increases the headroom, especially in the back seat. It's not really going to impede the headroom by coming inside the car. There's also a really cool screen that you can close up to cover the sunroof panel when it's open, so you can get the ventilation without the sun beating down on you. You know, a lot of times in a car that starts under $20,000, you can really tell, like, you're driving it, you can feel that it's an entry-level car. You don't get that impression with this Jetta, and that's a huge improvement. It's been a long cycle for the last Jetta. It came out in 2011, so it's been out for 8 model years, and it really hasn't been well liked through that whole time, and I think this new Jetta is definitely going to be well received. Got a few bends here. We're gonna see how this thing handles. Definitely good steering feel and turn in. This R-Line has torque vectoring, which is a fancy way of saying that it uses the front brakes to kind of help the car turn through the corners. You can definitely feel it taking over sometimes and kind of pointing the car into the corner. In a smaller sedan, you often worry about rear seat legroom, but there's a decent amount here. I'm 6'3", somebody could be sitting behind me. You've got room in here for multiple people, which is definitely nice in a compact sedan like this. There's also plenty of trunk space, but we had a little bit of an issue with the trunk lid, and I'll explain. So you wouldn't expect there to be a power opening trunk lid on a car at this price point, and that's fine. What they did is they made it so that it didn't open too fast. It actually stops the lid at the top, and you have to physically push it the rest of the way. So they kind of tried to solve one problem and create another one, because if you flip it open and don't do that extra push, it's only halfway open. We always love it when car companies listen to us. We don't think they really do. In the past, when you press setup, it would tell you you can't do it while moving, but then when you use this setup button, it would hack your way into the menu. Now, both versions will actually lock you out if you're moving, but if you're standing still, it obviously lets you enter. Unfortunately, that means that if you want to change the sound settings, you can't do that while you're moving. The previous generation Jetta wasn't very well liked, so this new version is a really important car for Volkswagen. So how do we think this stacks up? Well, first of all, using a proven platform allows them to save some money without cutting corners. You've got a couple of things that we're concerned about, but overall, the build quality is improved. This is actually a much more substantial car than the previous Jetta. It looks nicer, and the other great thing is you've got a ton of features for the money. This is definitely an improvement and worth taking a look at.